Oh yes, this is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. And today's show, sponsored by Cheshire Impact, on a mission to help people maximize their use of Pardot and Salesforce. CheshireImpact.com. Bam. Hey everyone. Before we get started with the show, I'm excited to announce two things. First is that my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed, is now live on Amazon. So go get it. The second thing is we have a new sponsor, Qualified.com. I'm going to tell you about them in the next couple seconds here, and also how you can get a free copy of my book thanks to them. So who are these people? Well, Qualified is the #1 live chat and chatbot platform for Salesforce and Pardot. Sales reps can have real-time, personalized conversations with who? Your hottest website visitors. So I want you to know, I don't just partner with anyone. I genuinely love these guys. And the platform, we use it at my company. Our sales team loves it. We've closed a lot of deals based on it. Had a lot of great conversations with prospects too. So, a lot of marketing these days is what? Hurry up and wait, right? Fill out this form. And then if we pass you over to sales, maybe you'll swap 6 emails with them to find a good time to talk. But what if a prospect is doing research right now and they would chat now? Why not give them the opportunity? So the best part is your company actually decides what leads are worth a live chat. There's a lot of noise out there. You don't want to talk to everyone. So Qualified actually connects to Salesforce and Pardot, and it's able to pull in lead and contact information so you can specifically know if you're talking to a VIP, a VP, a decision maker. It's really kind of like magic. Now, if you don't know who someone is, well, what happens then, Casey? Well, that's when the bots come in handy. Chatbots can then ask questions to further qualify a lead, find out if maybe this is someone you do want to talk to. And they can book meetings while your sales team is out. And they can wake up the next morning with a bunch of meetings on their calendar. Now, here's the promo. If you are a company that wants to give your sales team this ability, right, to be able to talk to decision makers right when they're on your website, do this. Go to qualified.com and start a chat, right? They use their own tool, of course. Start a chat. Tell them that Casey sent you. If you have Salesforce Pardot, when you schedule and then do a demo, they will send you a free copy of my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed. Not bad, right? Well, it's only while supplies last. So hop on this thing today. And that's it for sponsors. Let's get to the show. All right. We're live. We're cranking. We're rocking. And I'm stoked to introduce our guest today. He is a marketing leader, a growth executive. We're going to talk about growth. Yeah, all about it. He's all about the strategy. He's an advisor. He loves mentorship. He's a passionate speaker. When you hear him talk, he knows what he knows, and he tells you what he believes in. I love it because we're going to smash some things today. He's the Chief Growth Officer at Integrate. Scott Vaughan, how are you, sir?
Hey, Casey, doing very well. Thanks. All things considered, in good spirits, good mood, and fired up. You've got me pumped up with all your ideas and thoughts. You got my brain turning.
I know, man. I mean, when you got TP and food in the house, our brain next turns to marketing, It's like the pyramid of human needs, right? You've got, TP, food, then it's like marketing strategy. It's what it comes up in my head.
There's a redefined Maslow's hierarchy, I think.
Yes. It's a new version, 3.0, 2020 version. Well, here's the deal. It's our marketing leadership series, and really with a very specific twist into the ABM side of things. A lot of people are talking about it. I even got made fun of for not knowing as much as I should know about it. And I just wanted to pick your brain on this topic. So here is this. This is an imaginary Thor's hammer, because the real one is back at the office. And so go ahead, take that. That's Thor's hammer.
Hang on, I got it.
Got it? Hey, you picked it up. No problem. You passed the first test. So smash for me some kind of marketing myth, bogus strategy, misconception. Just kind of set the record straight once and for all.
Yeah, well, when it comes to account-based marketing, this has always been my take. ABM is really not a strategy.
What?
If ABM is going to be
ABMers just rolled over in there, not graves yet.
Well, I think it's the M part, and it's the account base. It's a different mindset. I think from observing, doing our own work over the last 5 years and watching, large enterprises go through this process, Casey, we, like your organization, we have a front seat ringside seat, front seat of the roller coaster, whatever you want to call it. We're watching hundreds of these teams. And what you find out pretty quickly that if account-based strategy is not based around sales, marketing, customer success, and product, it really has a hard time of scaling and succeeding, because ABM alone today, for most companies, is marketing to target accounts, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
True.
That's an okay strategy and a plan, but ABM on its own really sits on an island. And what we saw or can see when people do it, they put all the chips on ABM especially in the demand gen world.
Oh yeah.
And their pipeline dries pretty quickly. So it really is.
Really? So you put all the chips on black or 32.
Yep.
And you spin the dice or you roll the roulette on ABM, and how does it dries up? Damn.
Well, what happens is in marketing, if you're going to lead this and you're going to go from, hey, I'm going to go to an ideal customer profile, persona-based alone, and you're going to move all the chips to the center of the table and say, we're going to go for account-based marketing. Like anything, you have to warm up that relationship. You have to introduce yourself. We know all the steps a company and a buyer goes through in their own customer and buyer journey. So you really have to prime the pump before you go all in with it. And like any good strategy, I know this is not rocket science. You have to do your testing on your messaging. Do you have the right target accounts? All of those things. But if I'm going to pick it back up again, where companies, I think, can get off course on this, and we've seen it enough and we've made our own mistakes, is ABM's our strategy. And when I hear that, I cringe, because and then I go, okay, let's get underneath the hood. Let's break down what that means. Because if you're going to go for an account-based strategy, it has to be a go-to-market. It has to go through the entire buyer journey, which means it has to go along your entire sales, marketing, and customer process within your company in order to really pay off and to scale. So that's where we miss a lot.
So we're missing on the demand gen side as well as the go-to-market as well as the customer? Or is it because it's just siloed, like an ABM? It's like a siloed?
That's exactly what happens. If it's ABM marketing only, that means marketing could be doing a kick-ass job of identifying, engaging accounts, and you're all fired up, and then, but the process isn't connected to that account and customer journey for each individual account and the buying group within. Or if it's not connected internally through your marketing, sales, and customer success process to really make that pay off. And that matters. It doesn't matter in the beginning as much, because you probably may see some lift.
Yeah.
Or if you go all in, what you're going to do is you're going to find early lift, but then it's going to fall off a cliff.
Tell me about the cliff. Is that specifically on getting more people in the pipeline? Is that the problem?
Yeah, because it takes a while, right? If you're going to shift strategies, you can't let go of the leads and the companies that you've been working on or that you have in the pipeline. You have to do your testing. You have to see if that's going to work. Is your messaging right? Is your content? Is your follow-up? Are you going to use SDRs, or are they going to go right to the account teams in sales? What role does marketing play versus sales versus customer success? There's a set of decisions and strategic framework and components that need to be made in all that area. I've said many times, and there's no breakthrough here, but the main thing is account-based work is just really good B2B sales and marketing. It's done well.
Wait, now, who said that?
What's that?
Who said that?
Many people have said that.
Yeah. Okay.
This is not something that is rocket science from me, but listening and watching and observing and doing, what you quickly find out is that account-based marketing that was supposed to add into sales was really one-to-one, one to a few, which was going after, these are our three big, just must-have accounts this year. I'm going to put marketing people on a lot of one-to-one account. I'm going to work that account with a salesperson, or one to a few. That's where marketing, that's what the idea behind ABM. We turned it in, we being the collective B2B marketing industry, turned it into marketing to accounts, and that was ABM too. And so, hey, we have a great ABM advertising product, and we have an ability to target and validate, at integrate. We think we do a great job.
Yeah.
But being clear on those strategies really makes a difference in your outcomes, and also setting expectations with your C-level, your CRO, your CMO, really getting all that aligned. It's really important.
This makes sense. If you were to, so it sounds like the M is the tricky one in that ABM sequence. If you were to rename this and also have like key tenets for your disciples to follow when it came to ABM, what would you call it, and what would be just the key things you want addressed?
So I think it's an account-based. We're going to move to an account-based go-to-market model.
Okay.
And that can be holistically, or that can be for these segments or this geo, or, that can scale and expand depending on the number of products, business units, and
So
all those things.
GTMM, is that our new?
I'm not trying to create any acronyms. Marketing should be thrown under the bus, because I probably am guilty of doing that too much. But it's the general concept, I think, and the construct underneath that if you can get your go-to-market strategy right, then that really helps. Then you have alignment in the functions that are going to be critical. You know which accounts, or dynamically which accounts, get fed into that program. It's holistic in the sense that it's not just about targeting and demand gen, but it's about what that follow-up is, how that data is connected within your systems, so that you have a full view of the account, full view of engagement, what products or solutions maybe they've already bought. Maybe they have a perception of your company, but not of this particular product.
Right.
That's why, Casey, you really, to do it right, you can step into it.
Yeah.
But when you get to a full role, you need a go-to-market strategy around account-based. And at the end of the day, it's good B2B marketing and sales, and it's another form of precision targeting and segmentation. The challenge is, when you go to do it, a lot of our systems and infrastructure were built more around just automating siloed and one-off processes. They're not really set to share that level of data, and to have the data models and framework so that it's actionable by marketing, that sales also understands. Sales is feeding that back to marketing, that it's being fed to customer success, because customer success may be responsible for expansion in this account. I need to know what they already have and what their people are looking at. And that's what I mean about more holistic in terms of a strategy versus just top of funnel demand gen, and we're going to go out and target accounts. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. A couple things on that. One, the go-to-market. Is the go-to-market focus, is that the priming the pump that you were talking about earlier? Is that what you need to do before ABM, or before you throw yourself to the wolves?
Every time in marketing, Casey, I think if you don't have a go-to-market strategy that's signed off by the main stakeholders, you really can get yourself into trouble, because then you start going off, and we get back into everybody's on a one-off trail, and you have silos, not just in your message and your approach to market, but the resulting silos underneath with all the data and leads that you're generating, and then your account information isn't right. And then, we get to a situation like we're in today with COVID, and how important is segmentation right now?
Right.
You do not want to be sent. Everybody who did not work on their segmentation inside their database, shit, am I sending to airlines or healthcare or, hospitality, or is it government? Or, you really have to be prescriptive. It's best if you can do it all the time, but today you could really mess up your business and spend a lot of waste and efficiency, and even push customers further or prospects further away if that's not right. So this is all underneath go-to-market, and that's why all the way down through your data model, your tech systems, and how that data is gathered and how it's accessed and how it's visualized. Reporting, yes, but also to be activated and acted on appropriately.
That makes sense. Go-to-market, GTM, this concept, I think it kind of gets either understated or overstated, but then missed. What is it to you? What does a sound go-to-market strategy look like, and how did you get it?
Yeah, a great question, Casey. And because before I answer that, I just want to say it's very easy for us B2B marketers, guilty as charged, to get so excited about a new strategy in general.
Yeah.
And you guys you got to brand it. You got to have a campaign. You got to buy some new technology.
Yep.
right? Am I right?
Campaign tracking. We'll make sure the
Yeah, here we
reporting's all
go.
set up. Yep.
But a go-to-market is that next level up to look
Okay.
at your, it's running marketing like a business. And what is your overall strategy and game plan? Starting with who in which markets, in which buyers within those markets, competitive differentiation, strategic positioning. Can we win in this market? Total addressable market. How big is that market? How much is it going to grow over those next years? So that has to be set as a marketing and as a just even a revenue discipline, a good business discipline, before you can get into the next layer, which is, okay, we're going to do an account-based strategy. We're going to do ICP and persona. And you can do all of them, by the way. You don't have to just pick one.
Yeah.
It might be that you have a parallel effort at a set of named accounts. So this is where it gets interesting. But I think we all got very excited in B2B 4 or 5 years ago because, hey, we don't want to just be the people who generate MQLs and chuck them over a wall, marketing qualified leads.
Right.
You know, we all have the same freaking formula right now. We generate a lead, we put it into nurture using this thing called marketing automation that we all believe is going to make her a revenue marketer.
Sure.
And we all have the same formula. So the buyers know what's coming. Here comes my cadence, my email nurture track. Everybody knows all from an SDR. And so we got to blow this thing up.
Okay.
I'm getting off on another track and passion, but that is something we have to break. So going back to go-to-market strategy, really making sure that it's aligned with the business and market opportunity, that there is differentiated competitive positioning that you have available. And then it comes down to, okay, now what's our strategy and what's the best approach? Is it an account-based approach? Is it ideal customer profile with the right persona set? Is it certain vertical industries? And then you start making decisions underneath that. And then it gets to things like, okay, what is going to be the infrastructure and the data model to support that?
Yeah.
And then it gets into, okay, now it's messaging and campaigns and all the creative stuff to get the engagement and get the plan in place.
I love doing this podcast because I'm exposed to things I might not have been exposed to as a marketer. Planning, like some legit serious level thought before pulling the trigger on a campaign. I think sometimes we get in that tactical mindset where it's like, get the campaign out the door. They're like, why did we send that in the first place? Or go get this content created. And you're like, why did I create that? Things like, you said marketing like a business, like take a step back, a business that has a business plan or just even a quarterly plan. You're thinking, what do we want to accomplish? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Who are the competitors? How much could we grow? What's the market look like?
That is the best advice to marketers today. You're a business person first, a marketer second. The more you have that business acumen and understanding, I think the better decisions you can make. Because if you get too excited about the opportunity too quick or in marketing, what do we default to? Campaigns, creative, content. And then, this last several years, maybe we also get excited and go out and buy some new technology. And now we got a tool set that's, we're a little bit drunk on technology. We've been overserved and et cetera. So these things can happen. But if we're not aligned with the go-to-market model and the strategy, that's where we get in trouble. Yeah. And by the way, it doesn't have to be perfect and take 6 months. It can be an agile framework that you start, here and build out. This is not a call to stop. I mean, integrates in the middle of that now, really aggressively. And so we've put some stuff out in market already that we thought, based on some early research, was right. And we're fine tuning it and building it. We're doing some higher level campaigns before we get to very specific persona based messaging. And I see that work very well because you're also able to test and adjust along the way, but it's all being done within a go-to-market.
This is good stuff. What about finding the whole concept of like targeting your ideal customer profile? They're like, go get them. And then sometimes what you end up with is like, well, who are they anyways? Let's just target everybody. It's like you want to narrow it down, but it takes some guts to narrow it down and, niche down. So you just end up targeting everyone. And is it just industry, or is it just size, or is it that simple, or is there more to it?
I think I think you've got a lot of it, but there's more. I think there's more to it. The first thing that I've learned is you can do a quick lap around. The quick lap around is people who know that space doing interviews online today, the phone, whatever. You know, obviously when you can, you want to sit down face to face, but even just gathering intelligence and having conversations about helping understand the market and peel some of the layers back of what's happening. You also want to be able to, as you get to hone in to understand that market, or if you're creating a market, you want to identify what I call the influencers.
Okay.
So do all the research, go meet with your ideal customer profile as you home in who you think that is. I'm blown away on LinkedIn. If you're targeting someone in IT, if you said, you know what, our company, I'm the marketing person, I'm responsible for being able to identify the right solution.
Yeah.
Can I get 15 minutes and ask you about your world, your day? I'm so much openness to that. And you can't pitch. There's no sales call. This is not a product focus group.
Yeah.
It's really about them and their world to understand it. By doing that work, by doing the work of really talking to the sphere of stakeholders within that market space or burgeoning market space, you can help. And then along the way, especially for younger companies, what we've done is identify the 50 influencers or so. I'm using 50, making up a number.
Okay. Yeah.
Who are the people who have a voice that people listen to. You may not agree with them all, but they have the ear of the ideal customer profile and the personas, and begin to meet with them and build a relationship and introduction. Follow them on social, share their content, engage them in banter and discussion so that your company gets known in that circle and they know who you are and what you're positioned around. It's really good old-fashioned marketing. Some would call it, public relations, influencer relations. Some of those could be the analysts. Some of them could be media and blogger types. Many of them are people like yourself who have a network of customers where you're the trusted advisor who's going in to advise them on their marketing and their strategy, or even their technology.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, it sounds like it's just a little bit of work. You just got to have some conversations with people, and then to your point, not everyone is going to auto reject you unless you're using that classic LinkedIn line of, I know how to get you lots of leads, but if you accept that lead invitation, you are the lead they're getting. You're not having a conversation. But yeah, just a nice
marketing's about doing the research and the homework as much about the execution.
I like that.
And it's so important, and marketers are often so under pressure to get campaigns out or to get content out because we're all trained that way. Like that's what marketing does. We do campaigns and we do programs, and so you may need to do some of that work while you're building this. So you don't want to wait, but you really need to think about that go-to-market strategy and the pieces and do the research and the homework. Again, don't research to death where you're spending months and months. You can have an agile model that you're building into it, and it's informing the system so the system gets smarter if you're getting the inputs.
System that keeps getting smarter. I remember you mentioned earlier about blowing something up, and I know we had talked a little bit about tech, and they're kind of like pushing their, I guess we're all guilty of that in some way, but like oftentimes we can over tech something and then we're just getting strategy from tech vendors who are just trying to sell shit. And this sort of industry we're in where it's like, buy something, it'll solve all your problems. Is that, what do you want to blow up? What are we doing the current system? Is it the MQLs and what is the status quo that needs to get disrupted?
Well, there's a cause and effect here, Casey. And the way I view this is, and I can tell you my own personal story. So in 2009, I thought I was a CMO, but I was really a brand and a product oriented CMO. I wasn't a revenue marketer, so to speak.
Right.
And I drank the Kool-Aid. I bought the vision when marketing automation came around. It wasn't just CRM. Marketing was going to have its own tool set. But my point is that what you do is you bought the dream. And the dream was that In the early days, we went from the logo people, the brochure people, the trade show people, to something. This was a very big leap that could be meaningful. We would have data. We could actually have business impact and show marketing contribution. Well, the challenge is, if you fast forward to this decade of modern marketing, what we became is we automated a bunch of processes that were good, that made us more efficient, that give us MarTech gave us data that gave us ability to measure things. So that all positive. High five for all the stuff that we've been able to do, but it's also put us in a corner.
Interesting.
So marketing automation, first of all, look at the lack of innovation in our industry right now. All the big guys have pretty much been bought by larger companies.
True.
Salesforce, Adobe, Oracle, they've acquired the main platforms. That's fine. They're great companies. They're great brands to do business with, but also your innovation slows. So a bunch of one-off tools come off to automate a bunch of little processes or fix things. And so what you're left with is this kind of conglomeration of disconnected, siloed stuff that doesn't integrate, even with some incredibly smart marketing operations people. Thank God that function exists today, who are doing some yeoman's work of putting it all together, or firms like yourself, but it's still a challenge. And so that's the phase we're coming out of. So think about that. That's our model right now. And we've built these beautiful demand engines. Well, the model is about to flip. So where that was all built around individual leads and generating a marketing qualified lead and nurturing it. Everybody has the same nurturing formula. 3-step cadence, call, automate. So to break through, what we're seeing is a lot of the leading B2B marketing teams are thinking about, how do I move from this marketing and sales funnel mentality to account and buyer journeys? How do I move from the lead quantity goals that are forcing me maybe to do some things that aren't so good for my business to the quality pipeline and opportunity mindset? Make no mistake, when I say this, it's a big leap. It's not easy, and I don't proclaim to have the formula to do it, but this is the era we're going to go through in this next 5 to 10 years of making these shifts. In order to do that, you can't rely just on marketing automation. I don't mean marketing automation, the tools, generally just automating processes.
Yeah.
That's why you kind of see this dawn of orchestration, that you're seeing the companies and the providers, because what orchestration promises is that there will be intelligence, that you can start to connect the data, the systems, the process, the programs. And I'm going to say promise because we're at the early stages of it. Right. And there's no one vendor who's going to come down from the mountain to show you how it all to do it. It's going to really, the innovation is going to need to come from inside these B2B sales and marketing teams and working with firms like yours and really being able to do it. So this is a shift that's underway. It's not in all the headlines yet, but I get to go into these conference rooms and we're doing it ourselves, and everything's being reimagined around the customer journey, around the account journey. And that's a change.
Is it a change? Is it, what more is it than, leads? There are a bunch of leads in an account. You may gather a bunch of leads, just enough to stick them together. Yeah. What really has to change, or are we adding just a layer on top of it to make it, sound better?
So much has to change, including internally, but let's take external.
Yeah.
So the way most companies buy, not a small individual buyer, but we get into high growth, mid-size enterprise organizations. Sure. There's a buying group or a buying committee, whatever you want to call it. There's a set of professionals that have roles and functions that are going to be involved in a purchase, especially if it's something, either a large purchase or complex technology or complex purchase, or a longer purchase. Any of those factors are going to drive more of that. So you have to reorient your systems, your data model, your programs around that. Think about this, Casey. When we do a campaign or a program, we have a new product launch, we're going to do a program. What are the odds of being on the buying process for your either ICP or target accounts?
Right.
That doesn't work. It's just, you're not optimizing.
Right. You're hitting them. They're on your list. Who's to say that they're looking? They're probably not.
You're on your time, not their time.
Yeah.
You're on your timeline, or the CEO wants to hold it around your user conference. So you're going to hold this thing until it launches, and all your programs are going to go out after, which is fine, which is great. I'm not bashing it.
Sure.
Because we do that. But it's the opposite. How can I get synchronized with accounts and with key buyers on their rhythm? And to do that, our systems aren't built to do that today. Our processes aren't built to do that. They're built to do campaigns and programs. They're built to do really good content creation and putting it out in market, and we can measure things. Again, I'm high-fiving. I feel like I was part of a generation of modern marketing that moved the needle forward.
Sure.
All I'm doing is looking a bit out the windshield and telescope to see, you can see how this will play out, much like we did in 2009, where we had a dream of being a revenue marketer and contributing, and we did.
Right.
But this is the next thing that we have to get to if marketing is going to continue to have credibility, to be run like a business and have the business impact that's expected. And it will take some change. It'll take some change to process. It'll take change to data models, to roles. I just did a webcast with the incredible team at B2B at Tableau in B2B marketing. And they admirably have won so many awards for all their modern marketing and they're blowing it up. They have they have an Amazon leader at the top, and they want to be customer obsessed. So they're moving to journey orchestration, and they're moving. Their titles are going to be different. They're not going to all be demand gen. They're going to be, customer orchestration person who's looking at accounts and customer levels. And I applaud their effort. So they're kind of reimagining what that world looks like going forward. And they know they're not going to flip a switch in a quarter or even a year. It's going to be a multi-year agile move into this effort. And to me, that's what gets interesting. That's why, MarTech's kind of boring right now. The lack of innovation is underwhelming. Again, remember, I'm CGO for a company that's in the marketing technology space. We think we're doing great stuff at the Man Cloud.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Well, no, as an industry as a whole.
Come on, marketing.
We're going to see some breakthroughs. Okay. You're already seeing it in a set of new vendors, new suppliers who are coming out, more of this orchestration thinking, more data connected. And it's not a bash against the old. It's just a very logical business cycle that's happening in front of us. And when your two most exciting things in B2B marketing are, we now own the sales development reps. We own the inside team, or we got conversational marketing and a chat bot. Those are all good things. Again, I want to make sure I'm clear. Those could be key ingredients in your strategy to fulfill against your go-to-market. But these are not breakthroughs. Mm-hmm. So the breakthrough is not going to probably come from a single technology. It's going to come from the way you configure it, the way you put the pieces together to reimagine against the way accounts and prospects and customers are going to absorb information, make decisions, and buy and continue to buy. That's why I keep going back to the account and customer journey of where things are headed. And that has to align to your go-to-market, so to bring it full circle. That's the way I view what's happening now, and why I'm so excited, why I'm still at Integrate, and why I'm in the MarTech space, because I think this next generation of the next year or two is going to be real exciting to see some breakthrough happen as these pieces get assembled.
Yeah, I think, it's almost like the smoke before the flame type thing. We got to talk about it. We got to have conferences about it, but eventually the tech catches up, and then you've got some upstarts just like messing up the whole thing. Everyone else is like, what? You're just changing everything.
You want the tech to catch up. You don't want to try to force the tech in strategy, then technology. Well, some other steps in between, but then technology can come in and really help you scale and do the job. But you should have that understanding of with your people and with your teams of what to do and how to do it. And then the technology comes in and scales it and does the orchestration. And that's my subtlety between automation and orchestration. There's some art and science to that. So that's why when you get me going on these topics, I get fired up because I can see what's happened before, and you can see it kind of playing out now. And I hope to be one of the people that is an enabler, an activist, even a coach or inspiration along the way with the B2B marketing community, and certainly for anybody who's working with Integrate.
How do you operate now as a marketer? I know you're great at mentoring. We'll talk more about that. But how do you operate now? You don't have the orchestration's working itself out. You have automation in your platforms now.
Yeah.
The platform plays. You know, there's some other apps you could shop around for. What's your where do you point people? Where do they start if they're in this situation?
Well, I think it goes back to the go-to-market.
Go-to-market, yeah.
So here's something I learned from a gentleman named Bob Evans who runs CloudWars.co. So if you haven't seen it, cloud is going to dominate the world. I know that's not a headline, but it's only 5% penetration. And you know how big of revenues and impact they're having on our society? Only 5%. Wow. You see, it's scary. But anyway, I give this credit to Bob because he's the one who put it in my head many years ago. And what he said is the questions you need to answer are, what business are you actually in? What business do your customers think you're in? And what business do your customers going to need you to be in? That drives then your go-to-market strategy. So that's at the business level, drives your go-to-market strategy that then drives, okay, how are we going to approach this? And that's where the innovation and change can start to happen inside B2B marketing teams. And it happens with, okay, we're going to either blow up, reimagine, evolve, depends on where you kind of are, and start to tear down some of those walls and rethink what's going to be needed and what that model looks like. And like anything, you do a gap analysis. How would I get from here to here? What's the timeline? What's the resources? And again, today with agile development and so many, program and project management resources that we have available to us, if you have the leadership and you have the commitment, you can build that program over time. And I realize as I say this, many companies are still at the point, can I just freaking get the leads into Marketo?
Yeah.
I realize that's a real thing. And there's good news, there's solutions out there for it. We have a solution for that part. You want to go all the way up here? You want to start here?
Sure.
Companies can, your best partners can take you on a journey. And sometimes you need to get, your team, Casey, and your 2 or 3 best partners, your suppliers, your vendors in tech, or your data, or your agency, or whatever, and put them together in a room and say, okay, this is our vision. Help me build a path and a map to get there.
Wow.
So you got to use all your resources that you can to try to really take it from vision in the business plan into what you really need to do. And so that's a process you go through. And I know that's probably not rocket science for many of your listeners, but it can get overwhelming, but it's very doable if you have the grit and tenacity and the guts to do it.
Right. The buying committees is an interesting concept, because I think for certain companies, when you sell to the larger groups, it's table stakes. You're used to it, business as usual, BAU. It's like, it's part of business.
Right.
But if you're selling to the smaller business, it is kind of just a lead usually, or just a decision maker, or maybe it's simpler, but maybe not. I don't know. Are we like a split personality if we sell to a couple different size companies
No, not at all. Not at all. It gets more difficult because you have to have teams dedicated to it. Your data models have to be set up to accommodate it, as well as your infrastructure, which to me includes data, tech, and process. So yeah, it's very doable. Look at Microsoft. Microsoft is one of the most successful companies in the world and on fire right now. And look at the strata they have across their segments, their vertical markets. Salesforce, another great example. I use the tech companies because they're top of mind right now in our world, but they're 2 great customers of ours. But it can totally be done. But making those decisions are decisions that you have to make, and you have to build your systems and process and data models around that.
Right.
And I think the nuances is there's some relabeling here. Let's not try to fool anybody.
Sure.
Buying groups are basically the personas that make up the people that are going to determine your fate. They're going to say yes, no.
Right.
So all the basic, ideal customer profile work, the basic persona work, even if you're going after accounts, all still has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't go away. It
Right.
just gets reframed in how you go to market, how you measure it, and making sure you have the systems and data models to accommodate it. And of course, I sometimes skip this, but the people, whether they're inside your organization or working with firms like yours, or where you can bring in some expertise to support periods of time or overtime to help you do some heavy lifting, or as my friend Patrice says, GSD, get shit done. Because you're going to need those people while you're maybe configuring and sketching and getting things right. You may need some people to bring in to make sure your campaigns are in market and you're driving business and you're making revenue happen as you make this transformation or transition.
Right. Moving forward, I think Dan Sullivan has this thing, who, not how, right? Who can I put in this role, or who can I bring into this room to help us figure out the solution, as opposed to how are we gonna fix this?
Well,
how are we gonna do this?
I know Dan, and that's
Well,
wise
Dan.
advice.
You know Dan? That's cool.
Yeah. So that's wise advice that that you can have all the greatest plans in the world, but if you don't have the knowledge and the people who have the grit, tenacity and guts to do it, just when putting in Eloqua back in 2009, I made it a business case for cost efficiency. I tried to make something up because I knew we needed to make this change, and I made so many mistakes. I shoved it in. You would be appalled, like you'd be like, oh, but it's what
appalled
we
with
needed.
Eloqua anyways.
Throw in the name, right?
Sure.
Shoved in Salesforce too.
I know someone who's not going to sponsor this podcast.
Well, culture change, and again, we use all of them today. We run on Adobe Marketo, and we were in HubSpot before that here at Integrate, and we integrate with all of the companies, in Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce and Pardot. Pardot's a big part of our solution that we connect to. I use those because of that transformational time. It feels like that. That's why I'm using that example from a decade ago.
Right.
We're at that pivotal time. You can feel that there's a sea change that is happening in virtual conference room whiteboards right now, and a lot of sketch diagrams.
I know we're cooped up. I think it'll probably speed things up, because we'll get out of this lockdown here. I'll be like, okay, let's innovate. You don't have time
when you're
to be
forced
just
into
doing
a corner, Casey.
Yeah.
When you're forced into a corner, I actually think that's where the best work happens.
Agreed.
So it's like when you cram for a test when you're in school, right? And you know what? I've got 7 hours. I better get it in my brain and get it now. I mean, I hate to say it, but deadlines get people moving.
They do. Certain types and personalities, deadlines are the things that fire them up. And whether they realize it or not, they probably like that energy, and they're kind of just feeding off of it. So it's a good point. Who are you? How did you become the sage that I've had a pleasure of chatting with for the past
you got an eye roll on that. Sage, I don't know. I just was in a conversation. We don't use guru, Jedi. If someone does that, I run.
You're like Baby Yoda here. I mean, I'll be the Mandalorian. Have you seen that yet? Disney Plus?
No.
It's good.
I have not seen that. I know what it is, of course, but I'm not a subject matter expert on this particular topic.
I asked somebody the other day how many times they'd seen Frozen, not realizing they don't have any kids, and my kids are like that age around that, so I've seen it like 7 times, and
I'm a godparent and have many kids in my world, so I get to see all of it.
Yeah. But
I'm not the forced 7-timer. I'm the person who gets to swoop in and have fun with it, and then bail after that. And I enjoy that a lot. I love kids.
Well, take us back in time. Like, what's it like growing up little Scott? Where did you grow up? And
well, I grew up in Southern California, and was a pretty good student, and played sports and pretty normal that way.
What sports?
Baseball and football. Baseball was my sport.
Nice. You can't tell how tall people are on podcasts. Are you like crushing people with your football size, or?
No, that was not the case. It was grit, tenacity. It goes back all those things in hard work.
Yeah.
And so as you go through that process, and I went to college, like most people, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and the first few years fumbled around, and I really enjoy writing. I know
Okay.
that I think I'm a decent writer, but I know how to express. And someone turned me on to say, you know what, you should go into marketing and into communications. And I
Do you remember
took
who it was that told you that?
as a professor I had in a writing class, and just said, you know what, you've got the energy and the enthusiasm and what it takes, because marketing is a multidiscipline. So I took a class in communications and I just kept going, and I got a degree. And during my senior year, I had a paid internship at a city where I was on the communications team. And so doing newsletters, and had this huge development. So I got to do the photography and slideshows and,
Wow.
literally build newsletters and, all the design and all of those. So I really had good practical experience by the time I graduated. And when I graduated, I fell into this job. You see, there's a roll-up door in the San Fernando Valley. San Fernando Valley is also where the porn capital, same city, same roll-up garages.
Hello.
There's a small tech company of 22 people. And I interviewed and was there all day. And it was
What kind of tech? Huh?
It was in the early days of the internet connectivity.
Okay.
Which is ironic to the.
So it wasn't like a movie hosting platform?
No, none of that. It was boring networking connectivity and
Got it.
Routers and hubs in the early days of that. But my point is, I didn't know crap about tech.
Sure.
But what I had an appreciation for, and I was a marketing communications manager and ultimately became a director of marketing over 4 years. The company just went from 20 to 400 people, sold for $1 billion, and just got the taste of tech and the taste of it. But during that process, I was going out and being a supportive on sales calls. And I would get so frustrated, like, why are they telling him that? That's not. So next job, I picked up a bag and took a sales role. A little bit of the dollars was enticing.
Sure.
To see what salespeople did. But I also felt like if I was going to be a good marketer and a good communicator, I know how important the sales partnership is. I had to learn how to do that. So I was a salesperson and sales manager and a global sales VP over a 10-year period, which was phenomenal. I learned a ton, really got even more customer centric. That was one of my hallmarks in marketing.
And if I could just stop you for a second,
sure.
I've definitely heard that kind of experience can be powerful. I sold tuxedos for a little bit to get my hands dirty. What kind of takeaways did you get putting yourself, other than a SWAT paycheck that you can like throw in the bank and be like, yo, but like what kind of, I mean, it makes you a stronger marketer. Do you know, can you express how?
Yeah. So your communications matters.
Okay.
Right message, right time, right audience. Because here, in those early days, especially, marketing was air cover at best. There wasn't demand engines that were feeding you hand raisers or qualified leads.
Right.
It was also the psyche, the tenacity and grit. I go back to those things that it takes to be on the front line. You had such an appreciation for putting yourself out there every day to reaching out 5 or 6 times to engage, and it's the right thing. Once that engagement happens, I loved the consultative approach. I love the working with customers and whiteboards and brainstorming. That was my style. And I could also do that, learn to do it from great mentors, and then teach and pass that on, where you become a valued either extension of their team or a valued advisor, because, you could challenge the norm.
Right. The best salespeople do that, right? Not everyone does that, but when you get consultative like that, and it's powerful.
I was a marketer and a salesperson's, in a suit during those days.
Okay, that's what it was. Better than sales is.
It's just you are who you are at your core, and you're so shaped by what you learn. But I was able to apply both of those. I think I was fairly successful. I got promoted fairly regularly, and things got better. A couple salesperson of the year, a couple of times. But my passion, Casey, I really missed the marketing discipline, and I missed the strategy. I missed the business strategy. It's really hard to have in the sales, even as a senior salesperson. You have to put so much attention on infrastructure and all of those plays. You really do miss the business side of it. So I went back into marketing, and I was marketing is a hybrid role between being a sales and kicking off a product line within a company. And then I moved into running a services business around marketing and sales and in a business unit. So I had a P&L, and which I had experience in. So it just kept building from there. And then I put it all together and became a CMO. And I've worked for 8,000 person company. I was employee number 3, employee 22, employee 582, different size companies. And I learned a lot. And the last CMO gig before Integrate, what I learned is I wanted to go work at a formative company. I wanted to work at a company where I could come in right before product market fit, drive the go-to-market strategy, be the catalyst within the organization that defines the business strategy, working with my colleagues, of course, not being solo. But that's what I like doing. And sometimes it takes you a while in your career to figure that out, what you like to do, maybe what you're good at. But all of those jungle gym exercises and all those different roles between marketing and sales and services and being a product person again, or a product leader again, kind of brings you back. Interesting. I joined Integrate at a time where we had the best concept and idea, I thought, but it was raw and it wasn't developed and it wasn't even close to what we were going to market. And shaping that through this last 5 years and watching the company grow and really create something meaningful and work with significant enterprise customers has been rewarding. So that's how I kind of moved through my career. It was definitely, as Sheryl Sandberg would say, a jungle gym. And I think it's really valuable if you like that, to get that experience. I think you're a better CMO if you have that business experience, the sales and marketing. Now I have gaps too, but I can usually get people either around me or on the team that can lead really specific functions. Like I would say my product marketing is average at best.
Sure.
Just because that's not my area of passion. Done the role, but you kind of learn that, and then you build great people around you and a team that, makes everybody better by bringing it together.
Yeah. Hypothetical for you. I may or may not have a time machine in Nashua, New Hampshire. You can't use it now because of COVID, but let's say,
If you wear a mask and you
wear a
disinfect,
mask,
you might be able to
gloves, might be able to wear it. You come visit, you go back in time, and you visit yourself, and you've just graduated college or sometime around there, you're kind of starting your career. What would you tell yourself? Almost like you're mentoring yourself. What kind of things would you advise yourself to do or not do?
Well, I'll tell you because this is what human beings do. I'm going to tell you what I wish I would have done, and then I'll tell you what I did that I think actually played out well. Trust my gut.
Yeah.
I didn't always have the confidence, even though in my gut it felt right. I didn't have the confidence to always follow that. And I don't think I took enough risks in those early days, or maybe even the mid days. Maybe the early days I did because I was too stupid, or naive is probably a better word than stupid to know. And I think that I would have taken more risks, and I would have been probably more aggressive to think through that it's all going to be okay. Life's going to go on. As long as you're a good person, you work hard, all of those things, cultural values, you're going to be in a great place.
Right.
So that's the one thing I look back and say, gosh, I kind of wish. It's like what your grandparents tell you if you ever sit down. If you ever really want to know what you should do, go ask them, because they'll tell you, oh, man, they'll roll their eyes at you and just say, oh, yeah, I could have done this and that, because hindsight, and that's valuable to do. What I think that some of the things that I did right that maybe a little bit more natural or easy for me, but I worked on them, is I worked on relationships the whole time.
Yeah.
So my relationships and my roles today are genuine. I really enjoy learning from and working with other people, and I keep those relationships. I covet them. I try to feed them as best I can. I have responsibilities to my family and my job and my company, but I try to feed them and be there, because that has been not just rewarding, but over time that payback comes in most cases. And so that's one thing I did very early in my career. I was I don't want to use the word networker because it's much deeper than that.
Sure.
and the other thing I learned is being a connector and a catalyst. When people look at something and don't want to do it, I was the first to go, I'll take it.
Wow.
And the reason is, look at your world that you think of when Pardot came out. Who knows Pardot? Everybody look around like we draw straws. Someone who said, I seem like I could do it. Look at the careers that were built.
Sure.
That were just catapulted, and frankly, the awards and rewards in terms of cash. Sure. And we built a whole generation of people around that. What's the same idea? When someone says like, well, I don't know how to do it, take the opportunity to take that task. I can't say I always did it, but I've run customer success. I've run services. I've run product because I said, I got it. And even though I may not have been the best in class at it or certified and, went to school for, fill in the blank.
Sure.
A business acumen and an understanding of people and how organizations work and being a student of the market, which is another hallmark that I push so hard, is being a student of the market, not a guru, not a Jedi, but a constant curious student will go miles in helping you. And again, these are things you learn as you navigate through. I still have the same enthusiasm. You probably ask my boss, our CEO, Jeremy, if Scott, he'll just say, you got to calm him down a little bit because I'll get excited about something and I'm willing to do the work and put in the energy if I believe the outcome is there for people and for the company.
Right. Wow. Yeah, it seems risks is interesting. We say that when we're younger, we take more risks, and I guess we do in some ways, but in our career, sometimes we're not, sometimes we haven't developed the confidence yet to go and try to go raise that capital, see what happens. I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
Great example.
Just
great example.
Launch that app.
Or even in the marketing world, I've never done B2C and you want to go do that. That's cool. It's all building as long as you keep your relationships, your values, your, odds are you're going to be just fine and great things are going to happen. But if you don't look around the corner, I don't mean for another job. I meant for expand your responsibilities, expand what's possible. You're going to sit in place. And then if you like it, that's fine. But you're going to be, that's the person who does the marketing automation platform, or that's the person who they only write. We don't let them do anything else.
Yeah, we don't.
They box themselves into a corner.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm not downplaying it. If that's your passion and that's what you want to do, be great at it.
Right.
But there's another realm that all those things are building blocks to pick you up, to make you better, to make everyone around you better, and then the company you're working for better. So it's all kind of lifts up to that bigger place.
I think the challenge is there too. I think when we start out, we think that the challenge is in the tech, and there are challenges in tech, but by and large, it's like, it's more executing on that go-to-market that you've been talking about. But the real unknowns, if you really boil it up to the go-to-market, I don't even know. You come in, you came into a product that was formative, that was sort of, where are we? And you're helping them find, that's hard. That's really hard. Cause what do the customers want? I don't know. I guess we have to talk to them. What can we do? I don't know. I guess we have to talk to them too.
Perfectly said, by the way.
It's so up in the air. It's no idea. That's really
that's where confidence comes in, Casey. That's where I think over time, the more, if you have that earlier, and I see it in people and some people don't, I encourage it. I go, I love that you're thinking this way. I really appreciate that you're using data and your gut. You're combining them for the best, because data is still extremely important. I want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
But I think there's times where, you got to figure out what it is that makes you passionate, that makes you good. Definitely lead with your strengths, but try to fill in those weaknesses to get to the place that you want to get to, and listen to people for an honest assessment of where you are, and ask people candidly, and don't get defensive, just take it. I was a new executive, and I got sent to a week-long at a Wharton leadership class. And this kid who went to state school in Southern California goes off to Wharton for a week, and you get shipped off. And the first thing they do is they do a 360-degree review. Your peers, your bosses, the people that work for you. And that is the first session. You come in on a Sunday, and Monday morning you sit down and they read it to you. And it's like, oh man, do I have a lot of work to do. So they
Wow. So
break
they
you down.
message
They
them
break
all.
you down.
They got all this information in and you don't know about it yet. And then,
No. And then they they don't ease into it. They just like throw the bucket of ice water on you. And you're thinking,
wow.
I'm a pretty good leader. And then you realize I have a lot to work on. And they do that purposefully. So then they build you up all week and give you a new set of tools and skills.
Sure.
But that's the type of thing, if you get access to, don't downplay it.
Yeah.
Because it's more thinking you can put in your arsenal. It's more experiences that you can bring from, and just even the people in the room are going to maybe give you some ideas, and there'll be connections and people you can fall back on. And when you get into a situation, hey, I've never handled compliance issues so deep, or I've never handled a rogue employee or a team that's been remote in the Philippines, and you can call back on people to shortcut and to hack.
Right.
You have a playbook here. Can I get 10 minutes and take you through, or can I buy you lunch and we'll walk through my scenario, and can you give me some advice? Every time you can hack or let me take hack out of there. Every time you can shortcut or accelerate something, fantastic. If you can hack it to get through it, that's cool too. But being able to accelerate it by putting in some shortcuts and using knowledge is pretty powerful.
Yeah. And the challenges you're talking about, anything that's difficult, leadership, definitely difficult. The challenge is where the confidence comes from, though, right? Like doing something, you don't get confidence for doing something easy. You're like, oh yeah, I could do that in my sleep. But you do something, I took over this and I had no idea how to do it, and it's working, or it's
that's
like, wow.
it. You need to put yourself in those positions.
Yeah.
And that's where that confidence does come in. But also, keep good people around you.
Yeah, for sure.
The old phrase of the lifeline when you need it, or phone a friend. Those are all play into this. You don't get great by yourself. I mean, I know it's not rocket science, but you learn that very quickly. You're only as good as the team. Oftentimes the market that you're in. Another thing I learned, Casey, is try to find markets that have a little tailwind behind them. It helps smooth out a lot of bumps. Not that it's easy or perfect or anything, but if you get into markets that are in their early formative stage, and you can't always get it, you don't always hit the timing, or you have something like this that throws a major wrench into life, like we're going through with COVID-19 and the coronavirus and pandemic. You can't predict those things. You've got to be flexible. But the more you can set yourself up, now you're smarter. At first it's like, I want to work with this team, which I did. But now if I can work with this team in this market with some tailwind behind it to catapult it, boy, with budget and opportunity, you can do a lot more. You can experiment more. You can usually make, bigger bets versus having to.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of tear down I've had to do in my career in roles where we had to reduce headcount by 20%. And it's all part of being in business. So I'm not saying that that's not right, but that's not what I like to build things now. I've done a lot of tear down, restructuring. You always have to do a little bit of it, but I don't want to make that a full-time job.
And to your point, be smart when you're looking around and choose the race that's being raced right now, as opposed to, it's the cool down lap.
Right.
Go where the excitement is. And then you're right. That kind of, if you haven't quite figured all the strategies yet, it's okay, because there's bubbling excitement happening and you can learn stuff along the way, and it's not going to kill you or the company immediately.
That's right. And you also have to know when you're lucky and when you're good, and be honest with yourself. You get into the right market at the right time, and you watch someone come in and say, well, I built, I don't know who it is, Zoom. I built Zoom, and you're going, you immediately go, okay, this person clearly, they're one of,
right,
how you articulate your role, your contributions at any company. I use Zoom because it's obviously at this time not just a hockey stick, but reinvented the whole idea of online communication. So pick any company in any market that's like that, and you can find it. You also see that you realize sometimes you're just better to be lucky than good, and you got to know what your ratio is.
Yeah. And to your point, have some humility to be the student of the market and not think you don't need to know everything. Just be constantly learning from the market, and you don't have to ever be wrong because you're just learning as a student. tell me about mentorship. I know it's a big part of, and you mentioned, staying in touch with people. Are these formal mentoring relationships, or tell me
There's
about
some,
what's
there's
going
some
on in there?
that way. I don't have a mentoring business or anything like that. Mentoring.com.
Here's the landing page. Go there now.
Let me think about my ICP and go to markets. No,
Right?
I just
Absolutely.
enjoy it. I just get tremendous joy and excitement out of seeing people succeed and seeing people break through. And I know how much I was catapulted by people that took the time to pull me aside and tell me I was less than perfect, and here's what you can do. And other times that where I would be down or maybe not sure, and they would pump me up. And I would be able to get through and navigate through something, or arm me with information and ideas so I could find my path.
Right.
Either a career move or even a business situation that you needed to navigate. So I'm just a big believer in making myself available to people to have that conversation. I'm one point of view, as you see here, and you've graciously invited me on to share my experiences. But I listen to podcasts too, because I listen to a wide variety, so you can kind of get different ideas about that. And I live a lot in the B2B marketing world because I enjoy it. I enjoy the people that are in it. So, but that's how I think about mentorship.
When you're doing mentorship, do you have any underlying questions you're trying to help them solve, or, what kind of goals do you have in your head for the person you're talking to?
Well, I look for cues. So I talk about kind of where are you right now, and tell me your narrative. I use the word narrative a fair amount in this.
I like that.
And tell me what you did for me, Casey. How'd you get here?
Right.
What was your path?
Yeah.
And then try to, kind of talk about, as you look forward, is there a path that you have created in your mind? Is there not an end goal, but is there kind of next steps? And try to unlock that. Not try to tell somebody, but just try to get them to visualize it and maybe even sketch it, what it looks like. And one of my things that I think I'm pretty good at this point that I really enjoy is I can look out a year or two and work backwards. Right. That's my value to an organization or to people.
That's really valuable.
It's a strength I have. Now, I may not be able to tell you every single detail to get there. I was an operator for a long time, but the details of every specific piece, that's not as interesting to me at this stage in my career. It was at points, because I played that role. But today, when you're mentoring, you really want to try to help somebody, to me, build their narrative and their story, and also look forward to what that narrative might be, and either connect them with people that may have taken that similar path or come to the fork in the road or whatever it might be, and or develop a plan. What do you want to work on then? What do you think are your strengths? If you ask your last two bosses or your last two peers, what would they say? And really start to get them thinking about that in that path. And sometimes, frankly, Casey, you just need to be there to listen.
Yeah.
Someone to let them think through why you're here, and you could just, nod your head and.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Because I do. Sometimes you kind of got your thoughts in your head. You just got to get them out.
Yeah, sounding board. Yeah.
Sounding board. Yeah. So I think it's a really important role. I think some of it has to do with experience and age. You've gone through some things, and you can provide some, at least a compass or some ideas through the process.
Right. How do some of these relationships start? Because I gotta imagine there's people listening that, one, would love to have a mentor, or two, would love to be a mentor. And is it sort of this awkward, like, hey, you want me to mentor you? Or, hey, can you mentor me? Like, it's that awkward moment on a date. Should we have our first kiss?
Oh my gosh. Now,
like, how do we actually,
how did we get here in mentoring to dates and kissing?
Dates and kissing. Hey.
No. It's not like that at all. It's a little bit different here, because in the B2B marketing world, or B2B in general, in the business world, there's two angles I look at it from.
Okay.
One, my passion in my own personal life comes through. So everybody who's got kids that are in high school that are looking to go into college, or college graduates, somehow they get connected to me, and they'll go talk to Scott. He's really passionate about mentoring and business and all these, curious in all these markets, and he's a marketing guy. So that's one angle of group of people, and I enjoy that. I enjoy getting to know. And by the way, some people are a little worried. I'm completely energized by this generation, young generation coming up and through. To me, it's magical. I just see so much good and different thinking. And then there's
you just pull up TikTok and you realize how exciting this generation is.
Well, there's both sides of that now, KCC. You always take us down a bad path. We're going down a good path.
Am I doing that?
Off the road here. No, but in general. And then there's another piece of it in B2B marketing. Just because I do like to write and put points of view out, I do speak at conferences. I'm usually pretty vocal on my point of view on things. People reach out to you, or you meet people, and I get to work with a lot of our customers who have incredibly bright people. So if I see that, I offer, hey, anytime you want to chat, or anytime, it's pretty logical.
Okay.
And I'm a compare and share notes kind of person. I genuinely go in to understand, to learn. And if I can give back or share a point of view I've learned, like we're doing here, if that's what you asked me for, that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
And
I get it. So it doesn't have to be some awkward conversation. It's just, hey, if you're ever interested, I'm happy to share some of the things I've learned with you. Or hey,
and they happen quite naturally. It's I think a lot more straightforward than that. And maybe I need to think about it more. Now you got me in therapy. I'm actually questioning myself. But no, that's how I think about it.
Well, I think it's important. And the idea of a coach, I think I was chatting with my dad. He said, this is sort of a development of the times, perhaps, is that it seems like a lot more people have coaches, mentors, whatever you want to call it. I think myself, at some given times, I've had like 3 at once or 4 different things, one for business and one for, trying to learn triathlons or whatever it might be at the time, where you just have someone who's like guiding you and sharing that wisdom of watch out for this, because this will happen. Or just being a sounding board, to your point. It's so helpful to have
coaches are incredibly important, and not using them as a crutch, but using them as an accelerator, a sounding board. When I get a trainer for workouts, I go exponentially better.
Oh, 100%.
Not rocket science.
100%.
And so I go back and forth to make sure also that my mental health and pushing myself is there too. But coming out of this, guess what I'm going to be getting?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It's time to go in and do a check and call bullshit on myself on a few things maybe I thought I was doing, but not really.
Right.
And to get strong in those areas that for my own health. And so it's the same analogy. It's really something that, I don't know, it just gravitated towards. It's always been there, but it's accelerated a lot in the last handful of years.
Yeah, I think it's almost like the modern day counseling too. Just sometimes you need someone to talk to, and it's about whatever. You mentioned, like business or career or working out.
I'm fascinated. I was in I'll say a session now. I sound like a therapist to myself, but
well, yeah,
we just did a check-in, and it was awesome. And this person is in demand gen, but also really strong really into food.
Huh.
And the ingredients and how, and I couldn't be more polar opposite. You could not find me in a kitchen. My wife would laugh at you to death. Like, well, don't let them anywhere around it. I don't have that but I'm interested and I'm curious. I watch all the ingredients and how it's being done. And so you see this other side. So you encourage this person. Why aren't you writing on those blogs?
Right.
You're an incredible writer. So now you've got, hey, I've got a good career. I can take this path, but you may find your passion being, in marketing or in communications or in a food or food ingredients or in that industry. I'm not saying that's the path it'll take.
Right.
But if you put yourself out there, speaking back to risk, and why not follow that passion? Why not contribute? You have so much to contribute, and it's an area that you care about. So these are the balancing acts that, or the kind of conversations you can have just by being a sounding board and being there.
Right. Yeah. And it's so true. It's spotting those things where people light up, and I've had people say, you know what, whenever you say that, like when I talk about podcasts, they just go, wow, like just like what I did with Pardot.
Right.
And they're like, podcasting is so cool. They're like, wow, you really light up. And it's helpful to have that feedback, not just to get it out off your chest, but have someone mention, hey, by the way, in this case, you mentioned these recipes and wow, this is a thing, like,
Yeah, the
interesting.
science of it was
What do you,
fascinating.
yeah, are you following up on any of this? Like,
Yeah, go.
would it be
But
fun
it's like
to do
you
this all
drew
day?
me in. You drew
Yeah.
me in. Your
Yeah.
passion's very clear. You want to share with your peers, your community, ideas and inspirations from people that are trying to drive it. And I
Right.
think that's really awesome and noble. And you like this form. You're good at it. I like to write. I like to express myself that way.
Sure.
I like to speak, but I mean, their podcasts are your thing. You're passionate about it. I love participating in, but I'm probably not your radio host.
Sure.
Or your
Sure.
podcast host.
Yeah.
I'm not that. That's not my. I love to speak. I love to do workshops and groups and interactivity.
Yeah.
So everybody has their thing that they like to do or passionate about, and follow it. Follow it.
I totally get that you like to ask and answer tough questions, like go to market side. It's like, well, I don't know. These are tough questions, but you want to find that solution. It's interesting.
I want to keep digging at it. And
Yeah.
I've learned over time that it's usually not a quick answer. It usually takes time and in months and years to get really to the really big ones.
To discipline and
I'm certainly not, and just to be clear, I'm not claiming to cure anything meaningful like a disease I'm in marketing. So let's be clear on what the tough challenging thing
Right.
is. There's no Bill Gates moment here.
Right.
But I do take it just as seriously because I know it helps create business value and jobs and communities and things that are also important to our society. And I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, for sure. We bumped into the same thing in our company. One of our values is we care. And, we get really specific. We're like, look, you may be working with a client that sells sprockets. And yay, like it's hard to get behind a sprocket as like something you really care about. It's not like we're in the Peace Corps and you're saving some youth from the jungle or something. Like, I don't know. But it's not so much about that company that sells sprockets, but it's about the person at that company that you're working with,
Yeah,
and like,
true.
How cool would it be if they got a raise or they got a promotion because of the work we did together? Like, how cool would that be? And then they're like, thank you. Like that kind of relationship, that's what's worth it. So you're right. Whatever it is, it's finding that
what
thing.
The sprocket creates, it could be creating a rocket that's saving lives or, exploring space or.
Right. Or it goes into a ventilator,
Yes.
Yeah, who knows?
Exactly.
Right.
And you gotta kind of know where you are in the supply chain, so to speak, in the middle of. That'll be another podcast.
Right. Exactly. Man, well, this has been awesome. Where can people connect with you if they want to learn how to be a better mentor, or maybe get some mentorship, or get introduced, or just pick your brain on marketing? What's a good?
So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty present there, and lots of conversations and all that good stuff. And it's Scott A. Vaughan, and it's the same thing. And it's VAUGHAN on the little twist at the end. And same thing on Twitter, although I'm not active on Twitter these days as I was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Simply because I'm getting a little bit more long form idea.
And but your TikTok videos are off the hook, man. I gotta tell you.
Easy.
I'm a big fan.
Easy. You can tell I'm not built for video.
I just started checking it out because I'm like, okay, I got an hour to kill. It's coronavirus time.
We all do. Let's not fool anybody that you can't get sucked down into it very quickly.
Oh yeah, there's this thing
Especially I'm going to finish that project. Then before long, you stay at your desk, working at home like we all are, and before long, 45 minutes have gone by, and go, well, okay, I probably need to eject from the seat here and get to more important matters.
Right. Well, there's some fun on there. I get it. It's but yeah. It's interesting. That's for sure. Okay, so cool. We've got some ways to connect with you. People will reach out. Don't be goofy when you reach out, people. Write a message in the LinkedIn connection and whatnot, so you're not just one of those random invites. But Scott, this has been fun. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for I love the questions and your breadth and I love that you can free flow and bring it back in. It really makes for a meaningful conversation. It was a little bit therapeutic for me too. You got me thinking
Yay!
about some things. I was writing some notes along the way
Awesome.
that some things to work on.
Awesome. Well, that's great. And we'll have to have you back on here for your next session, in a quarter or two. Once we get out of this whole Corona thing, what's the market look like? How can we tackle it?
I would love to do that in all seriousness, Casey, even if you want to bring a few of us on. I'm really trying to keep a pulse and help everybody and share information. And I don't think anyone has a true understanding of what we're in, but I think sharing information and being there is going to be really important over the next coming weeks, months, and even quarters.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And for those of you listening, if you learned something, which I know you did, because I literally have 2 pages of notes over here, then share this with someone. Be a thought leader to one person, 7 people, 42 people, 89 people, like whatever. Just get it out and share and be that person that's now getting information in other people's hands. And again, Scott, fantastic. Love hanging out with you. Good times, man.
Thank you, Casey. I really enjoyed it. Appreciate you having me, and everybody stay healthy and sane.
We will. Healthy, happy, and safe. And this has been the Hardcore Marketing Show. We will catch you all next time.
All right. A big thank you to today's sponsors. Cheshire Impact, helping marketers and sales win, maximizing the use of Pardot and Salesforce. And a big thank you to Qualified.com, the #1 live chat and chatbot platform for Salesforce and Pardot. Remember the giveaway. If you have Salesforce Pardot and you want a free copy of my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed, then you go over to Qualified.com, engage in a chat, do a demo, and tell them that Casey sent you, and that book will be on its way to your door. All right. We'll see you all in the next one.